For this next demonstration, we're going to show how to add in a miscellaneous bent plate member. To do this, we want to go into elevation 110. And for the first bent plate we're going to put in a foot off from grid line 1. So we need to add a construction line in. Base it off from grid line 1, -12. And as you can see, my construction line came in. It stops right at grid line C because it's based off a finite grid line. If you would want that grid line to extend past, you need to change your grid line from a finite to an infinite. So to do that, as a reminder, I'll escape out of here, change our default filter to all, and as I highlight grid line 1, double click on it, I can bring up my direction view edit, click the finite off, and I'll use CX to erase my construction lines. Go back to add a construction line and base it off from that line, and now you can see it goes past. It follows the infinite grid line. So for our first piece of bent plate that we are going to put in, we'll escape out of that command. I'm going to use the pull downs here for this example. You can use the icons on the side if you want. Go to member, add, miscellaneous. We're going to pick bent plate. And for my first point, I'm going to pick grid line B, and that construction line we put in 1 foot south. Then we're going to go to grid line C. Piece mark leave blank. Material thickness is 1/4. Material length is 20 foot. That's based on the points that you just picked for your legs. Leg 1 we're going to do 12. Leg 2 we're going to use 6. Our bend radius is 0.25, and our bend angle is -90. Material grade is A36. Your surface finish is, you can leave it as is, just your preference how you want it to show up in your model. And for the setbacks, we're going to leave them as is also. Hit OK. Next, you bring up your material rotate screen. As I zoom in here a little bit closer to my bent plate, you can see my construction line 1 foot out and my bent plate extends back to the grid line 1. That's what I wanted. I wanted a 12-inch leg. My other leg is coming out at us. You can see it. So my bent plate is in the position I want it. If it was not, I can click my rotate buttons here and rotate it to where I want it. I want to rotate around the y-axis or the z-axis. I can do that also. So I'm going to hit OK and OK, and there is my bent plate. Now let's detail that bent plate. So to do that, we'll double click on that member. We'll select detail member. Leave the defaults. Go to view detail. And we'll unshorten it. And you can see the bent plate comes in as we put it in the model, going vertical on the screen. You can see your 12-inch leg, your other leg coming out at us. Miscellaneous members do not have dimensions on them. So what you see here is what you get by default. Next, we'll exit out of here. And we will put in, or we'll isolate that member using your member isolate over here, or again from your pull downs. You can go member model, isolate member by location. We had that member highlighted, so it pulls up that member. And here you can see your main view as shown. So for miscellaneous members, you can rotate the main view. So in this case here, we go to view and you can use your options here to rotate your view. I'm going to use that option there, and I'm just going to pick a point anywhere for my first point. My second point, I'm just going to right click for return, and here's my rotate view. I can use this to rotate it as I want. As you rotate it, you can see it rotating on your screen. And what I want to do is rotate around the Z axis. Now I've got it horizontal on my screen. Hit OK. And now that I have it the way I want it, I am going to hit save. It says view has changed, save, and OK. Now if I double click on that member again, bring it back up, detailed member, hit OK. View my detail. Unshorten it. You can see it's on the screen horizontal. Next, if you have a lot of members that you are putting in and you don't want to go through them steps there to rotate it, you can rotate your model. Again, as you put it in your model is the way it's going to detail it. So for this example here, let's go to navigate and then rotate view. Again, pick a point anywhere. I'm going to right click for return, and I'm going to rotate on my Z axis, and I'm going to rotate it so my grid line 3 rotates down to the bottom of the screen. So I've got grid line 3 horizontal on the screen now. I've got grid line B here and grid line C over here. I already have a construction line in 1 foot to the south of grid line 3. So now let's add in that bent plate again. We'll go from grid line B in that 1 foot dimension to grid line C. Now for this example here, on the previous ones we were putting the bent plate in, picking from bottom to top. Here I'm picking from left to right, but my bent plate is rotated in a different direction. I can tell you that this negative 90 is not going to be correct, but let's just leave it as shown. And I'm going to hit OK here, or I'm going to pull that all the way. You can see my bent plate's not in the position I want it. I need that leg rotated up here. So if I use my rotate, you can see it's rotating around, and at that point there is where I want it at 180. My 12-inch leg is correct. I'm gonna hit OK and zoom in here for you. But you can see my other leg, you can see that the bend here is down, so it's incorrect. So I'm going to take that back out, delete that back out there. Show you 2 different options here to put that member in. If I pick them 2 same points here from left to right, I could change my bend radius from negative 90 to 90, or if I pick from right to left and leave that negative 90, and I'm going to hit OK here. Now I zoom in there, and you can see it's correct. My leg's coming out at me, and everything is correct. So now let's detail this member. Now that we've rotated the screen, as we put it in position, it's horizontal on my screen. Leave the defaults. View your detail. And again, to unshorten it just to show you, it is horizontal on the screen. As I put it in, my leg was down. I mean, it's sticking out at you, but it's at the bottom of the screen. So it details it exactly the way you put it in the model. Next, let's take this bent plate this last one we just put in. Let's not save anything. Cancel out of here. And again, the miscellaneous members detail ads, you put them in the screen. Do not put any dimensions on, no sections. So let's use your isolate member by location. That one was highlighted. And let's add a preset right end view. And if I double click on my right end view here, you can see how it's going to show up. Hit OK. Now let's go back into that member and detail that member. View the detail. And we'll unshorten it just to show you. There's your main member. Here's your section view. So now you can go back in here for your assignment and add in the dimensions to show the dimensions that are required. And there you can see that it dimensions out with your 12-inch leg, your 6-inch leg, and your 1/4-inch material thickness. You can unshorten that back up, and there is your member detail. Now, for the newer versions of SDS2, I'm going to show you another option for miscellaneous members or detailing them and how they detail. So let's exit out of here. We can save this one, exit out, and I'm going to go back to 110 again to get it back to the original 3D model position. I'm going to delete this member out and put that one back in, because that one was one that we used the member isolate on and we rotated it. Use our bent plate again. Leave our -90. So again, as a quick example, detail that member. View our detail. Unshorten it. You can see it's vertical on the screen. I'm going to close out here with don't save anything. Go up to options and fabricator options. Member detailing fabricator options. You can see a miscellaneous tab here on the side. Miscellaneous detailed in position, horizontal or vertical. Change that to horizontal. Now I'm going to go back and open up this member again. Detail member. View your detail. And again, unshorten it just to show you. So this here at detail horizontal on the screen. So for most of your miscellaneous members, you probably can bypass all the previous steps I showed you and just use the detailed in position horizontal. If for some reason them options do not give you your results, you can use some of the previous options that I showed you. They're all for demonstration purposes, just to show you how you can modify the way your details look, your miscellaneous members are detailed.